Now on CoastTV News.
Waiting to weigh in, the final fish. How many boats went out on the final day of the White Marlin Open? Delaware special session, what legislators are discussing, and a new representative to be sworn in.
And it couldn't get any better this weekend on Delmarva. Picture perfect weather, unseasonably cool temperatures. We'll start the week sunny, dry before we warm things up. I'll have details on when it will feel like 100 degrees again coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Hundreds of boats left the marina for their final chance to catch a winning fish. Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with the last day of the White Marlin Open. The tournament in Ocean City is the largest bill fishing tournament in the world. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Sapay shows us how many boats went out on the last day.
Sunday was the last day boaters had the chance to get on the leaderboard and win a big cash prize. And with great weather today, 211 out of the 282 boats set sail. Jimmy David and his crew went out on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
Fresh mahi. We had a good year. My buddy Nick got a nice mahi yesterday, so it was nice to bring that to the scale. First time really we ever made it to the scale, so we were happy to go there.
Usually, boaters can choose 3 out of the 5 days to fish, but due to the weather, Saturday and Sunday were also an option, allowing boaters to fish 3 out of the 7 available days. Michael Jamian and his crew went out on the first 3 days of the White Marlin Open, and is not the biggest fan of the 2 extra days being added.
It's part of tournament fishing. If you got bad weather, you kind of got to go, and can't always have a nice day out there, you know.
But some people took advantage of the extra days, including Michael Jordan and his crew, taking the Catch 23 boat out on Saturday, which brought back a 71-pound white marlin.
It's the biggest tournament. People come from all over. Yeah, you have Michael Jordan, all kinds of people. I heard they have the Secretary of the Navy over there, and all kinds of celebrities, and the best of the best fishing. It's for sure the Super Bowl.
I'm Kevin Zapay, CoastTV News.
There's an estimated $7.3 million in prize money this year at the White Marlin Open. Anglers are wrapping up their final day of fishing in the tournament tonight. And this morning, 211 boats went out. And in a moment, we're going to take a look at the leaderboard sponsored by Rudy Marine. But first, let's take a look at this right here. Basketball icon Michael Jordan, as Kevin mentioned, made a slam dunk at the scales yesterday. His boat, named Catch 23, is currently in second place in the White Marlin category with a 71-pound catch. And staying in that White Marlin category, Bill Fisher of Ocean City is in the lead of that group with a 72-pound white marlin. And now we're going to take a look at the Blue Marlin category. A massive 929.5 pounder is still on top. It was brought in by the boat Barbara B. In the tuna category, Mama C brought in a 95 pounder, but Seahab earlier today brought in a 188 pounder, which is leading with no limit at 92.5 pounds. And on your screen now is the moment that 188-pound tuna hit the scales this afternoon in Ocean City. And as of now, that catch netted the Seahab boat out of Cape May, New Jersey, over $750,000. And Barbara B is the leader with a 32.5-pound dolphin, and Rochambeau with 27-pound catch, and Sweet Freedom at the bottom there in 26.5-pound dolphin. The first wahoo of the tournament hit the scales today. The Shooting Star from Pottstown, PA, reeled in the 49.5-pound fish. And the tournament ended today, and at this time there are no qualifying fish in the swordfish category.
White Marlin Open leaderboard coverage is sponsored by RudyMarine.com, where family boating begins.
For more on the White Marlin Open and how the payouts from last year's tournament nearly doubled, you can head to our website, CoastTV.com. And the time is now 11:04 on this calm Sunday night. We're going to take a live look into Milford and bring in First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, it's been a perfect weekend weather-wise and fishing-wise.
Without question. I mean, can it get any better than this for the dog days of summer, right? We should be baking in 90-degree temperatures right now, but we have been well below normal ever since the start of the month. We ended July on a hot note with that heat wave where we were well into the 90s, but check this out, all in blue here, starting on the 1st, 75, and right through today, well below average. Today we hit a high of 82. The average high for this time of year, 87 degrees. We were at 82 in Salisbury, 82 Cambridge, and we saw a high of 79 in Ocean City. It's been a rather tranquil, calm night. 66 in Salisbury. Could see some patchy fog develop through the overnight. See temperatures right now holding at 72. Bethany Beach, we're at 72. Rehoboth, 65 in Milton, and we're at 67 in Bridgeville. High pressure virtually right over Delmarva. It's going to slide off just to our southeast tomorrow, so we'll see a light southwest wind, a southeast wind. Temperatures very nice along the coast, upper 70s to lower 80s under mostly sunny skies. Moderate risk of rip currents along the Delaware beaches, so keep that in mind. Make sure we swim near those lifeguards and continue to use caution. We're going to gradually turn things a bit muggier as we go into Tuesday, and then the hottest day of the week looks to be Wednesday. It's going to feel like 100 degrees again as we get those dew points back up into the 70s, and then we'll look for a chance of thunderstorms Wednesday and then a better chance into Thursday. Coming up, we'll talk more about the thunderstorm chances and have a little look at the tropics. We have something brewing in the Atlantic. We'll talk more about that coming up a bit later on. Brandon.
Thank you, Chris. Earlier today at the intersection of Route 1 and Route 24, a crash happened involving an ambulance. And on your screen now is the moment when this crash happened. According to a live run logs, a patient was already in the ambulance at the time of the crash. We reached out for updates of the health of everyone involved, and we have not heard back. A toll collector is recovering after a crash at the Dover Toll Plaza late last night. DelDOT says the worker suffered minor injuries when a vehicle hit the toll booth. Officials are reminded drivers through the speed limit through that toll area is just 10 miles an hour, even if you're not paying cash. Delaware lawmakers are moving fast to respond to widespread outrage over massive property tax hikes following Delaware's first reassessments in decades. Some homeowners, especially in Newcastle County, saw their property values jump by over 500%, leading to huge tax bills. In response, the House filed 3 emergency bills, House Bill 240, 241, and 242, to provide short-term relief, including refunds, payment plans, and letting school districts adjust tax rates. A special session is set for August 12th, with lawmakers promising more permanent solutions in 2026. Before that special session, District 20 Representative-elect Alana Berry will be sworn in after winning the District 20 special election by just 121 votes over Republican Dr. Nikki Miller. On your screen now is a post from Friday, Representative Berry in Dover at her new seat in Legislative Hall. Over the weekend, the city of Rehoboth Beach held their city commissioner election. The election was a 3-candidate race for 2 open seats on the Rehoboth Beach Board of Commissioners. Susan Stewart and Chris Galanti were elected. Susan Stewart, a lawyer, is already on the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission and the Mixed Use and Stormwater Utility Task Forces. She's also a financial advisor with a major wealth management firm. Chris Galanti has no relation to the city and is a senior program and account manager overseeing complex government contracts. Now let's take a look at those election numbers. A total of 1,111 ballots were cast in the municipal election. 637 of those were in person at the Rehoboth Beach Convention Center and 474 by absentee ballot. And this is important to note. Each voter was allowed to vote for up to 2 of the 3 candidates. Stewart received the highest number of votes with 849, followed by Galanti with 806. Jeffrey Good, the 3rd candidate in the race, received 314 votes. Stewart and Galanti will be sworn in during the Board of Commissioners meeting on September 19th. Now to national politics. We are just days away from a critical summit between President Trump and Russia's president in Alaska. And we're learning now another invitation may be extended to Ukraine's leader. NBC's Vaughn Hilliard is at the White House.
Tonight, ahead of the Trump-Putin meeting, 4 sources tell NBC News that the White House is considering extending an invite for Ukrainian President Zelensky to join in Alaska. Though Putin just last week said Ukraine was far from meeting its preconditions for face-to-face talks.
The way to peace is to have a decisive leader sit down and force people to come together.
Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. today keeping the door open.
If needed, President Zelensky, of course, will be present at the meetings. We have been very open about it, but let's see how this will go.
This after leaders of several European nations promised they're committed to the principle that international borders must not be changed by force. The comments coming after President Trump suggested Friday that Ukraine may have to cede some territory.
There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
This weekend, top Ukrainian officials met in England with Vice President J.D. Vance.
We're going to try to find some negotiated settlement.
And tomorrow, the White House's special envoy Keith Kellogg heads to Ukraine to continue those discussions. Today, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte saying any territory concessions by the Ukrainians must not be legally recognized as part of Russia under international law.
It will be about territory. It will be, of course, about security guarantees, but also about the absolute need to acknowledge that Ukraine decides on its own future.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham also insisting there be security guarantees for Ukraine in the case of any future Russia invasions.
You need to tell Putin what happens if he does it a third time.
Tune in tomorrow morning on CoastTV News for a new look at old homes. Delaware lawmakers looking to provide relief following property assessments across the state. Stay tuned tomorrow morning for the full story.
Well, rain chances are going to be hard to come by over the next 7 hours. Next chance isolated to scattered storms Wednesday afternoon and then Thursday. We'll talk more about that and the return of 90-degree temperatures in that full 7-day forecast here in a little bit.
But first, anger and fear are growing inside the CDC after a deadly shooting. Why some say the tragedy hits far too close to home. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just 60 seconds. Tonight, we're learning more about the gunman in the deadly shooting near the CDC headquarters. Atlanta police say believed the COVID-19 vaccine was to blame for his mental health struggles. And now, with fear and anger growing from inside the CDC, we take a look at the latest.
Tonight, current and former CDC employees and allies in Atlanta fired up, angry following Friday evening's shooting that left a responding police officer and the alleged gunman dead.
Secretary Kennedy likened CDC to a Nazi death camp. He has accused CDC workers of deliberately harming people. He has spread disinformation about the vaccine and told people that the vaccine causes harms that it does not cause.
Dr. Anna Yusuf was on a call held by the CDC director yesterday with members of the agency's Center for Immunizations and Respiratory Diseases department to discuss the shooting. She says many of her colleagues blamed the Trump administration's rhetoric and specifically Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for the attack.
He needs to publicly denounce the vilification of federal workers and CDC specifically.
The health secretary has previously made comments like this unfounded claim about the COVID vaccine.
It's the deadliest vaccine ever made.
He posted on X on Saturday, "We're actively supporting CDC staff on the ground and across the agency. We stand with them." Authorities identified the alleged gunman as Patrick Joseph White. A neighbor of his who requested anonymity tells NBC News that he expressed anti-vaccine sentiments to her on multiple occasions and told her that he believed the COVID-19 vaccine made him sick. Abby Ty is one of the founding members of Fired But Fighting, a group made up of laid-off CDC workers. She says the shooting didn't surprise her.
Among us folks that work at CDC or have connections to CDC, something like this is always in the back of our mind.
The CDC director says at least 40 bullets hit 3 buildings on the campus. In an email to employees, CDC's chief operating officer says the shooting was a targeted attack related to COVID.
Back here on Delmarva, a tragic 2-alarm house fire has claimed the lives of 6 people in southern Maryland. You're looking at the aftermath of that fire that started just after 8:30 this morning. Local fire departments responded to reports of a house fire with people trapped inside. 9 people lived inside the home, 1 escaped, and 2 were not home at the time of the blaze, and it's still unclear of how this fire started. In Baltimore, police are searching for someone who shot 6 people last night. Officers were called just before 9 o'clock. Baltimore police say they were victims on a porch eating crabs when a vehicle appeared and started shooting. One of the victims being a young girl.
Upon arrival, they located 6 victims, 4 males, 2 females. One of the female victims was a 5-year-old child who was shot in the hand. Thankfully, it doesn't appear that her injury is very serious.
4 men and a woman were also shot. One of those men is in critical condition and is in surgery at an area hospital. Still to come here on Coast TV News at 11, extreme weather across the nation. From floods to severe heat, we show you the latest.
Well, whether you were on a boat today or at the beach or on land, it was just a picture-perfect weekend to do just about anything. When you have the low humidity this time of year, it is certainly a plus. We're at 66 right now in Salisbury, 65-degree dew point. Winds are relatively calm. Likely you're going to see some fog develop throughout the night into the wee hours of Monday morning. 71 in Rehoboth. We're at 64. Dagsboro, again, milder at the coast. Cooler inland, we're at 64. Delmar to 65 in Laurel. Dew points still in check. We're in the lower to mid 60s, and they're going to be creeping up ever so slowly as we push through the start of the week. We're clear, we're dry under the influence of high pressure, have some rain down across the Carolinas and to South Carolina. We're keeping our close eye on a front back off to the west, still well off to the west, and that's not really going to impact us till Wednesday, Thursday timeframe in the form of a few isolated storms. But as we've been mentioning, it has been a cool start to August. Check this out, where you see the blue each and every day, a departure from the norm, well below average high 87. And even in Salisbury, look at that, well below average to start the month. One of the coolest starts to August on record in Salisbury, and that's going to change this week. Not going to be terribly hot, certainly nothing like we haven't dealt with already this summer, but certainly going to feel that heat midweek. 57 to 65 tonight, a mostly clear night, so we wake up with some patchy fog tomorrow, burns off pretty quickly. We're up to 75 by around 10. On our way to highs in the mid-80s, so we'll bump the temperatures up a few more degrees tomorrow. 85 Georgetown, 82 in Easton. We'll see a high of 84 Princess Anne and 84 Berlin. Seas are starting to calm, so we'll have a moderate risk of rip currents on the Delaware beaches tomorrow. Make sure you swim to those lifeguards. A low risk, Ocean City, Assateague Island down to Chincoteague, so that is certainly good news. Partly cloudy skies through tomorrow afternoon. A muggier start to our day on Tuesday, and then we're going to bump those temperatures up into the upper 80s to near 90 away from the coast. It will feel muggier by Tuesday. The hottest day of the week appears to be Wednesday, and that's when we're going to see that temperature rise to over 90 degrees. And there you see the humidity going to get into those 70 to 75 degree dew points, so it's going to feel rather tropical Wednesday, Thursday, and then even into the next weekend. So there's the setup. We have high pressure to our southwest, funneling in that southwesterly flow. It's going to feel like 100 on Wednesday when you factor in the humidity. And there we see isolated storm chances as we go to Wednesday, and then a better chance of a few scattered showers as the front kind of decays going over the area. Not going to really drop the humidity behind the front. National Hurricane Center, keeping an eye on this area convection near the Cabo Verde Islands, going to push west here over the week. The Hurricane Prediction Center has about a 60% chance of development over the next 2 days, and we're going to likely see this become Erin probably this week. Where does it go from there? We still have a week or so to determine that, but could threaten interests along the East Coast. So we'll see how that pans out come next week. We're at 90 on Thursday with an isolated storm chance. We see temperatures stay rather seasonable behind the front, and into next weekend right near 90 degrees.
Thank you, Chris. Now to weather across the nation. Destructive storms tore apart the Midwest Saturday, killing at least one person in Nebraska. In Wisconsin, torrential rain caused life-threatening flash flooding and forced the state fair to close early. And it's not over. More storms are in the forecast tonight for parts of the region. At the same time, millions of people are under heat alerts that will last into next week. Jen Sullivan is tracking this stretch of wicked weather sweeping across the U.S.
Powerful winds toppling this tree in Nebraska, narrowly missing the house, as severe thunderstorms and wind gusts more than 80 miles per hour tore through the area overnight. Residents waking up to a path of destruction, mangled power lines and uprooted trees.
A lot of wind, rain, and a lot of branches falling down.
There's a lot to clean up.
At least one person was killed when a tree crushed this car. This same storm system blasting parts of Wisconsin. Torrential rain triggering life-threatening flash flooding in Milwaukee County, where a state of emergency was declared Sunday.
Oh my God.
Cars parked at the state fairgrounds saturated by heavy rains. People desperately trying to evacuate the state fair after organizers canceled the last day of events due to the storms.
This flooding event, it's very significant. It's something that Milwaukee hasn't seen in perhaps a decade or more.
Some areas saw more than a foot of rain in a few hours.
The flooding is still an active emergency situation all across Milwaukee County.
The risk for more flooding continues Sunday with a second round of storms on the way for much of these areas already recovering from Saturday's storms. Meanwhile, out west, wildfires continue to rage in parts of Southern California and Colorado, and millions are under the threat for extreme heat. Palm Springs, California could reach 112 degrees Sunday. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Back to school season can bring excitement and anxiety. We have 3 simple ways parents can help ease those first day jitters. That's up next on CoastTV News at 11. Some students may be excited to head back to school, but others may feel a bit of anxiety. While having some nerves is completely normal, there are some things parents can do to help. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has 3 ways to ease back to school anxiety.
It's a new year with new classes and teachers, and for some students it can all feel a little overwhelming.
Having a certain amount of nerves, you'll see with almost every kid, even the kids that are excited about going back to school.
Child adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Bahar Hashimi with El Camino Health says sometimes it's more than just nerves. Some children struggle with anxiety, and she says the first way to help with the transition back to school is to talk with them and be an active listener while validating whatever it is that they're feeling.
Oftentimes parents want to jump in and make it better. But first and foremost, just being that active listener and really helping to understand what your child is feeling.
Next, Hashimi says to establish routines, create a regular sleep schedule, mealtime, and homework time. She says consistency can help ease the anxiety of something new. And finally, spot the signs of more significant anxiety or depression, which can include sleep changes, excessive self-doubt, lack of interest in things they used to enjoy, being more withdrawn, or struggles with connecting to others.
Really leaning into that intuition that you have about your child and knowing when it's time to seek help from a medical professional is important.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And we're now taking a live look outside into Salisbury, and after the break here on Coast TV News at 11, we have a final check on your forecast. Raising funds for furry friends in Cambridge, Wags, Wings, and Wheels had its inaugural event yesterday. Live music, food trucks, classic cars, and airplanes cover the Cambridge airport, all to raise money for the animals at Baywater Animal Rescue. Their executive director says the ultimate goal for yesterday are finding animals their forever homes.
We love all of our resident shelters. We love them so much. We love having them, but in the end, our goal and our mission is to find them their forever homes. Animals belong in homes, not in shelters.
Malkus says Baywater Animal Rescue is reliant on donations and is always looking for volunteers.
It's been a really nice evening on Delmarva. Comfortable temperatures. We've seen clear skies out there. Taking a live look into Ocean City, one of the more milder spots at this hour along the coast. 73 there, dew point 64. Winds are relatively calm. We're going to see plenty of sunshine for our Monday. 78 along the coast. We do have a moderate risk of recurrence at the Delaware beaches, so be mindful of that. Temperatures right in the mid 80s, so we'll bump the temperatures up about a few more degrees than where we were at today. Humidity still in check. We're not really going to see the humidity rise, I think, until about Tuesday, and yeah, your hair is going to feel it, I think, certainly by Tuesday and Wednesday, where we're going to get those dew points well over 70 degrees. So people that deal with those hair issues are going to be feeling it middle of the week. Brockstedt Manals Federico sponsors our First Alert Weather Phone. You get your forecast anytime. And your 10-day forecast shows 89 degrees by Tuesday. We're at 92 by Wednesday and feeling really hot. That's going to be actually the hottest day of the week when you factor in the humidity. We're going to have temperatures around 92, but it's going to feel like 100. But overall, nothing we can't handle. We've hit 100 2 times this year already, right?
We're looking good there, Chris. I'll tell you what, the White Marlin Open just wrapped up today.
Yeah.
I went rock haul fishing in Maryland. I don't know if I'm winning $1 million worth of fish there. But Michael Jordan had a 71-pounder. You think LeBron's getting a 72-pounder? Or?
I don't know. My money's on Michael.
My money's on LeBron.
All right, my money's on Jordan.
It was beautiful this weekend, but yeah. So what do we think we're expecting here the next into this week?
So we've been spoiled with this weather. I'll tell you what, below average temperatures, and really the humidity's been in check. And then, but by the time we get to Wednesday, it's going to feel like 100. But it's not going to be a prolonged heat wave. We're going to have a few days there right around 90 degrees. And then next weekend, we're looking at temperatures getting right around seasonable, right around upper 80s. But the humidity is going to be sticking around, I think, really Wednesday through the weekend.
Well, if you're feeling that heat and you need to cheer up, I know what you can do. Each Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from our Feel Good Friday newsletter. And you can find that at coasttv.com/our Feel Good newsletter. And thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. And we'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News today, starting at 5 a.m. Have a great night.